What's up everybody, welcome to my guide for how to play YORU in Valorant. I've learned a lot of things intuitively, as well as by observing other players, and while I don't consider myself very good, I'd definitely like to share as much information as I can because I've noticed that it seems to be pretty scarce, at least on YouTube. So without further ado, here's the list of everything that I'm going to be discussing in this video. I want to go in depth a bit about how to use each one of YORU's utilities, so I will discuss how you can use his ultimate to flank, get info from ahead, reset a situation, avoid other ultimates such as raises, brims, sovas, killjoys, or breaches, and how to distract an enemy while teammates peek. You can use the gate crash to flank, reset a situation, retreat, push quickly, fake a site, or peek a corner safely, and then pop back to re-peek if you want. The decoy steps you can use to make somebody swing on you. You can use them to fake a site, fake a rotation. You can get somebody to peek the wrong angle, or you can bait a rotation. And on defense, you could also use them to fake rotations, fake retakes, fake aggression, and fake changing corner that you're holding. And lastly, you have the flash, which you can use to flash around a corner off of the wall or the ground, flash deep ahead off a wall or the ground, flash behind you, which is particularly good for if you are with your team, to fake pushes, to conceal crossing corners or choke points, to conceal your teleports, and to conceal your fake footsteps. So hopefully after you've seen this video, all of this will make a bit more sense, and let's get into it. You can see here, I used my ult to avoid Raise's ult. I pulled it out just as she got hers, and even if she had let that fuse run down, she wouldn't have been able to get me. So I reset the situation here, and even though I didn't get the kill, this could have gone a lot better. In this clip, I try something really cool with the teleport and the flash in combination with each other. I was hoping that I could flash out of garage, faking my approach from there, then teleport myself up to heaven, get a peek, and start taking frags because I was at an unpredictable angle. I got one, but unfortunately they caught me immediately after. This clip captures not only using fake footsteps to fake garage, but also using my flash and my gate crash to enter site and get a free plant. This was a cool trick because that way I was able to enter the site in a spot where only one place could see me, and they were guaranteed to be flashed, so I get the plant and exit immediately. This is a particularly cool one because I double faked out the enemy team. I made it look as if I was just using fake footsteps while I rotated out, and then I quickly teleported in and got some kills on the flank. I especially liked the way that the Killjoy turret was shooting at the Sova and missed, and it looked like it was shooting me in the face. It's kind of a funny effect. This is a really good example of using gate crash to your advantage because it has so many different options for how to use it. I threw it down here and made it look like I was going to teleport into market. So the Phoenix watched that, and I managed to sneak up on him while he was staring at it. The Sage, of course, was rotating around, and then the Jet was the last unknown, but I knew that she was going to attempt to come to spike because I was on defense, so I was able to hold it down here, and I also used the gate crash there so that I could cross into sewer safely without being spotted while I crossed. So naturally this was easy to pick them off one by one, and that's a really good way to use gate crash. This is another clip of an ultimate I used. This one worked particularly well because it was a 2v3 situation, so I got to call out all the locations to my teammate of where people were going to be in the site, and then I also got to pop out behind them and we got to attack from both sides. That made this a very easy clutch, and you can even see the YORU on the other team does the right thing and tries to use his ultimate to reset the situation. However, we get a pretty easy defuse because he has to go somewhere else, and one of us can defuse while the other watches. Teamwork just made that easy. He couldn't peek both of us at the same time. This clip I almost forgot about. This is me avoiding a Sova ultimate just to show that it's possible, and honestly too how easy it is to react to the Sova ultimate starting up. Yeah, I got completely out of the situation scot-free. You'll see here I used a flash to make sure I got out of the cubby and I'm safe. And now for something completely different, because it's super important and I want this to be the first thing that I mentioned in the video as far as custom games go. So a lot of people don't explicitly state this about YORU and his abilities, but you should know that the decoy footsteps, okay, fake out, costs 100 credits every round. You can literally create the exact same teleport sound as if you ran through the teleporter with your body. So listen to this.
Peek.
So that's what that sounds like, right? The default footsteps. And just to prove it, this is what it sounds like if you walk through with your body. Same exact thing. It even opens the door if you have them angled correctly. So that's super nice. Oh, also, I guess that's important. You could place your gate crash, run through the teleporter, and then take your gate crash so they think you're hiding in the teleporter. Like hell, even fucking any combination of the shit too. Like say you want to make it sound like 3 people teleported. Check this shit out. So now they're like, oh fuck, they're rotating. And meanwhile, you're still behind here. You can fucking pop, 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 or something. There's also something else to note. On this side of the teleport, they probably haven't patched it out. I doubt it. You're supposed to be able to walk right up to it, and it's supposed to be a certain way you can place them. Maybe they did patch it out. I think they did. I think they actually made sure they patched it out. Well, that's nice at least. You used to be able to open the teleporter door. However, I know, like say if you were inside of it, you should be able to hold the door open. I'm gonna test that really quick just to make sure. Say you pop the door open. You should be able to place it where the door can't close. Yeah. So you can have it propped open. So say somebody wants to take the teleporter behind you and they think it's okay, you know, I can sit here for a second and then peek. Like as soon as they pop through, you can just one tap them. So keep that in mind. That's an important tool, especially like just for how quick you can do that on the fly. Like, hold on, let's close the door. So like you can just, you're running through and just prop it open and just wait and then oh. Because you know they always spawn at the same spot when they come through the teleporter. But yeah, so literally no shit, that's a huge thing. Between gate crash and the fake footsteps. You can also flash through the teleporter. I imagine it's not that great. I'm about to like, we'll use this to test it. Let's see if you can flash that angle through the teleporter. Throw it nice and deep here. Oh, you can actually flash into hookah, so it's not that bad. You know, the flash can really bounce. So that actually flashed over here. So say someone was holding this angle, or this angle, like they would have suddenly been blinded. So you can flash your team from a short. That's cool. Yeah, that's probably all I needed to note. Just important bind tricks. Eventually, I believe I'll probably make a guide that's map specific. But for now, I just wanted to like throw out a bunch of the information that I know that people don't talk about. So anyway, back into the regular video. So now I'm in a custom game, and I'm going to show some of the things I didn't have real in-game examples of. So hopefully I can display it well enough. I'm going to try my best. Here we have mid on ascent. Everything's going to be displayed on ascent. And this is an example of you can angle your gate crash different ways to pop into different places in mid. This one in particular will go through arch onto the left so that you can peek up market. But you can get ones that stop in the middle. You can get ones that go into cubby. There's lots of different options that you have. And I really like using his gate crash up mid. Especially in combination with smokes and flashes and stuff. Like, you're going to catch people off guard. Next is one of his flashes. You can flash behind yourself while you peek. Very good idea to do that here. I made a little smiley face just to show how proud I am. And you can even fake your footsteps so that it sounds like you're running up mid. Meanwhile, you can slow walk in through a main, and you've got people peeking out of tree instead because they think that you're making a mid push, and especially if you know that you have enemies that are kind of aggressive. So that's a really good spot to flash off of, is that generator, because you don't have to peek too many angles, and it's going to flash all different places. Next, I'm showing another thing you can use your ultimate for. So say the spike is dropped and there's people watching it, but you want to get the spike, either for your team or if you're by yourself trying to clutch it. You can just go into your ultimate, run across the spike, and then take it wherever is going to be safe. Maybe tree would have been safer here, maybe a main was safer, who knows. I even flashed mid just to show you can also use your flashes to fake going somewhere. They would think, oh, a flash came out of mid, they're gonna go mid. But then you can either lurk around here, you can run to B, you've got options. So really smart stuff. Another thing you can use your ultimate for, which is really similar, honestly, to the spike part, is you can pick up a gun if you don't have a gun. This lets you run right up to it and just pick it up. The same way you just have to run over it. And then now you've got a gun, whereas you would have just had a sidearm before. Really good on safe rounds. That's a nice library there. I didn't know that existed. But now here's using your ultimate for if you want to flank. You can just go wrap right around behind people. And say your team were taking mid or taking B here. You've just gone through mid and you're coming around the other side, so now the enemy has to turn around and choose somebody to shoot at. Very similar to an Omen ultimate. See, I'm showing there, like, your team could be running out of garage in the meantime. Now additionally, you could use your ultimate to get info from up ahead, so you could just start marking points before your team pushes, mark where you know enemies are at, and then rejoin them to push all together with that info already in your pocket. Use your flashes, use your utilities, you know. When you know where people are, it's so much easier to flash them out and to nade them out, etc. Another example of how to use your ultimate right here is if you want to reset a situation. Say you pushed in, you got a frag, maybe two, but then, you know, you're in a vulnerable spot because you're by yourself, your team hasn't pushed up yet, the enemy knows exactly where you are, so you want to just get out, and that's a great idea to do. Next, I'm showing how your gate crash can be used to flank, and this is a really good idea. You usually want to like reveal yourself after you've thrown the gate crash, so that they expect it to just be a bait, and then maybe throw a good flash, maybe even two, so that you can teleport behind. You can also use your gate crash for retreating. Say you get a peek and either pick somebody off or take a little damage, you can just pop right back behind you. And depending on how long you've had the gate crash flying behind you, you might be able to retreat even further back and use it for a potential rotate. This is using the gate crash just to push. No flanking involved, just pushing straight into the middle, using the flash like behind your back. It's a really good idea to do that every now and then. You usually want to mix these things up, use them as like combination, so that way you're a bit unpredictable, because he's all about being unpredictable and creative. This now is gate crash being used to fake a site. You've got gate crash setting on a site and people aren't going to leave until they know that you're not using it. And look, by the time the timer's up, you're already on B site. If you weren't alone, they wouldn't know that that was you that went over, so they would have to wait and see whether you were going to push in, because they don't know who has spike yet. This is gate crash again being used as a push tool, as well as a flanking tool. So say you're defending the spike and you want to make sure that you're able to cover multiple angles and be unpredictable, that's a way to do it. Now this is one I learned particularly recently from the YouTuber Red. You can place it around a corner and then you jump and peek quickly and just teleport back to where you were, so that way you know you get information without having to risk getting shot, like if you shoulder peeked or fully peeked. This will be particularly good if you're holding a spot in like the back of a site. That one I didn't place very well, but this one's better. And you can even try to peek immediately after you use it, potentially even from a different angle than you jumped around before. And that'll get you a pretty free kill, because they're going to be like, oh, he teleported, where to? where was his gate crash? A couple other things to note are you can get people to either swing on you and peek because of your fake footsteps, or you can get them to be distracted and watching a certain direction or angle. If somebody were in that corner, they would have been caught pretty off guard by the fake footsteps and me peeking instantly after before they could react to the fact that it was fake. Here's showing an example of you can use that to fake pushing a site. You could have those set up, and while you're any distance away you want, just send them flying into the site so they hear footsteps A, start calling it out. You beta rotate, and meanwhile you're somewhere else on the map. I didn't even move very quickly, but I'm already on my way to B. This is an example of how you can use the fake footsteps to make it seem like you've changed corners or angles. And so when the enemy comes looking for you after they've seen you peek, they're going to look somewhere else, and you could still be in the same spot you were. Alternatively, you can make it sound like you're getting more aggressive or changing an angle up closer. You'll hear them peek and shoot, and then you can pop out and get them while they're not even looking at you. YORU's very good at getting free kills like that. Now this is an example of how you can use your footsteps to fake rotating to another site. Somebody would call out the footsteps in garden and say, oh, they're coming garden. Meanwhile, you can stand here and watch market for in case anybody pushes up mid and thinks that they're going to get your back while you're in garden. Alternatively, on defense, you can use these things in the opposite way. Make it sound like you've changed corners that you're holding, say here. Especially if they hear the sound, like I did there, of the dirt. And then you can either swing out and peek them when they think that the corner's empty, or you can wait in the corner and have them peek the other side. Here are some flash examples. Throw it off the wall and it comes out in front of everybody. Throw it off the ground and it comes out in front of everybody. Sometimes the bounces are pretty unpredictable too, so you do have to be careful about angles, but as long as it ends up where you want it when it goes off. That's another example of the one behind you. It'll help a lot because you don't get flashed and you don't have to hide first and peek out of anything. You can throw them deep ahead of you, and this can be particularly good because the enemy will either see it for less time, or you just end up with a better situation. You get more angles you can flash off rather than just the one that you're looking at. You can also flash off angles that would see you after you push. There's an example of using a flash again to fake something, making it sound like you must be in tree room, and meanwhile you can go through A main, try to go for a plant. Here you can see defensively how to use the flash behind you, say if they were to peek that angle. You can also use walls around you, use the floors. Be careful if you're behind an object that's not tall enough, you may want to crouch so you don't flash yourself. But particularly in sites like this, there's just lots of geometry to bounce flashes off of. As much as it sounds difficult that you have to bounce the flash before it activates, it can be really useful. You can bounce it off doorways too. I tried my best to show this, but again with the angles and whatnot, it gets to be kind of difficult. I believe I flash myself a lot, or at least half flash. But if you can manage to master this, I'm gonna flash myself again. If you can manage to master this, it becomes a really good tool. Just flashing off of doorways so that it bounces into behind you. The enemy is looking at you and the flash, but meanwhile you're only looking at the enemy and the flash is behind your head. Here's the official names and the costs of all of the utilities. Figured I should put that on the screen at least at some point. Especially because I don't even memorize all the names. But here's using a flash if you want to cross something safely. It will eliminate people's sight and even vision. Here's gate crashing in through tree room. You use the flash to conceal your teleport, because they won't see or hear it if they got affected by the flash for a very brief amount of time. And particularly when I use the gate crash, I like to bounce the flash off the ground right where the beacon is, because that's where people are going to be looking. There's using the flash to conceal fake footsteps. That way they don't actually see the little footsteps on the ground and they don't get to figure out whether they're fake or not. They could, for all they know, they could think that you're pushing. And if you start hearing guns go off, then that gives you free information. So anyway, that's all my log has to say. Thank you for watching. Like I said, there will be future YORU guide videos. But in the meantime, I hope that this helps somebody learn some things. Peace out.